Welcome back to Akamai TV. I'm Nelson Rodriguez. I find it interesting that over the last decade, not very many new hardware platforms have launched for watching video, whether that's set-top boxes or mobile devices, and yet there's still a format war going on. It has not been settled, and my guest, Alfonso Peletier, the CEO and founder of Epic Labs, has some opinions about this topic. Now, Alfonso, why is this not a settled science? Why don't we just agree to use AV1 and call it a day?
Yeah, hi Nelson, and thanks for having us over here. Yeah, there's still a lot of segmentation when it comes to devices. We live in a very fragmented industry in terms of protocols, in terms of codecs, in terms of players and devices. And there's still a great opportunity to improve that. What we're seeing out there in the market is that the solutions that we're seeing are trying to go for a one-size-fits-all type of solution, where there could be an opportunity to actually prepare the content and give it away to all those users very specifically, depending on what type of decoding capacity your device has, what type of format. The encoding technologies and algorithms are evolving very, very rapidly. Right now we have H.265, VP9, AV1. So we're still going to be seeing a lot of war in terms of which are going to be the predominant formats out there. We need to find solutions in terms of to be able to cope with this diversity.
What's the chance that we will see one format to rule them all?
That's probably not going to happen. I mean, you're seeing all the different industry players out there pushing for their standards. Segmentation is good because there is competition. When you're building out an OTT solution, that's going to be a pain because you need to serve all those users with the best possible experience. We think that's going to be very, very hard to be only a predominant format and codec out there.
There's no coincidence that you have some big announcements this year. I would love for you to share a little bit about at least one of those announcements.
Very good, yeah. So we're here to announce LightFlow, a new generation of LightFlow, which is an AI algorithm by which we're improving the quality of experience of the users, and we're also improving the workflow costs. What we have found is that this diversity is something that is very, very difficult to cope with. If you take a look about the context of a user pressing play, it is immense. Think about the content that they are receiving, think about the device that they hold on their hands, think about the access that they have for the data. When you're trying to cope with to all those users, what we're seeing is that there is a one-size-fits-all type of solution. What we're doing is that we're using LightFlow as an AI algorithm to hook up different sources of data. We're hooking up to different analytic sources and also to the source of the content to understand what is the best possible experience that we can provide a customer. So when a customer presses play, the AI algorithm by LightFlow is going to make a recommendation in terms of what type of content you should be fetching, what type of format, what type of encoded format you should be using, and also what's the best way to reach that out. As a result of that, we're seeing the quality of experience metrics getting improved, so the startup times are getting lower, the exit before video starts are getting lower, and also the costs associated to the workflow are also improving. So we're seeing a great opportunity to use AI to improve the workflows.
I'm going to want to talk a little bit about AI in a minute, but before we get to the topic of AI, I want to understand the kinds of pain points and struggles that customers are facing, that OTT providers, broadcasters are facing, that drives them to seek out solutions like Epic Labs.
Yeah. When we're approaching customers, there are always two conversations that pop up. The first one is quality of experience, and the second one is cost. And depending on what type of OTT provider you're talking about, it might fall into one or the other one. If you're talking to a subscription-based type of OTT, they have a subscription model, they have the revenues flows are somehow healthy. They're looking forward to improve the quality of experience. So they're looking forward to, within their workflow, they're looking for opportunities to see how they can fine-tune the content preparation and the way that the users reach that content for that quality of experience to be improved. On the other side, you have free TVs that have revenue models based on advertising. For them, it's very hard to grow their revenues because there's such an number of inventory that they can sell out. So they're looking forward to improve their costs. So we're finding AI as a great tool be able to fetch all that data about the customer's behavior, what's the footprint of your customers, what is the content that you want to send, and be able to come up with recommendations in terms of how you should be preparing the content, what type of formats, what type of codecs, what is the best path for you to be able to access the content, and as a result of that, get an improved workflow. An improvement could be an improved quality of experience or improved cost.
Now, it's interesting to me that when you are in the part of the workflow that you are, it gives you access to a lot of information about what the viewer is doing, the way that they're interacting with the content. And I want to ask you about what that unlocks, the kind of potential that might unlock beyond just making transcoding or encoding decisions. But before I ask you that question, I actually want to show a quick video that you've shared with us about your new announcement, and we'll be right back after the video.
Very good. Go for it.
Welcome back to Akamai TV. So obviously we got to tease a little bit about what you're doing at Epic Labs, and I did want to take the opportunity to dig into what else can be done with the kind of data that you have access to.
Very good, yeah. Right now, we're very focused in terms of how we can be improving the workflows, improve quality of experience, optimize from a TCO perspective. What we're seeing ahead of us is that we're seeing a great opportunity also to optimize how the ads, the video ads, are being placed within your playback, because we have a pretty good understanding of how the users are interacting with the content. We have also a great opportunity to understand how they're interacting with their advertising, and as a result of that, make recommendations to improve the ad placement. This has two reads of it. The first one is that we're able to provide recommendations in terms of, is it better to put 2 pre-rolls or 3 pre-rolls or mid-rolls, or what should be the optimal length for that, for you to be able to maximize the revenue without having a big impact into the quality of experience of the user. Another read of it is that we're experimenting in terms of how we could be placing video ads within the video itself, so doing a type of in-picture advertising. By computer vision, we're able to analyze where are the optimal parts of the screen and the video to be able to put a banner and be able to encode that ad within the video stream. So you can do a dynamic ad insertion within the video itself on the optimal way. So that way you're able to place ads without affecting the quality of experience, which is a very interesting trade-off.
So to be a dynamic ad inserted, but actually burned into the video as it's being.
Think about the example of a tennis match. By LiveFlow, we're able to understand when a game is slowing down, and also by analyzing the screen, we're able to understand what is the best way to put the ad. So maybe you're within a couple of points in the tennis game, right? So that might be a good opportunity for you to place an ad. You're able to understand what part of the screen is optimal, and then you can put a banner. That banner it's rendered within the video stream, so it flows with it. A good experience for the user, good opportunity to put additional ads, and good opportunity to increase your revenue.
You're not talking about having an ad follow the ball as it goes back and forth.
That would be too much. That would be the quality of the experience that would be greatly affected.
That would be terrible.
But it's interesting how you could be measuring that, and what's the resiliency of a user, of a viewer, when it comes to publicity and advertising.
Right, now there is the possibility to get even into questions of content selection, right? I mean, there's a lot of power potential in your connection to the viewer and what they're doing.
Yeah, we're hearing interesting feedback from customers. And here we're in a conversation earlier today to see how we could be evolving the algorithm to make recommendations in terms of how the users are interacting with the content. Meaning, you might have some users dropping off of a content without the quality being affected. So maybe the reason why they're dropping off is that because of the content is getting boring, and be able to feed back all that metadata to the content owners. I think there's still some effort ahead of us in order to approach that, but there are some interesting use cases to investigate, that is for sure.
Yeah, that's exciting. One last thing that I want to talk about is the idea of low latency. Now this interview is being streamed live at NAB to the booth, and it's being done in just a couple seconds of latency. and I know you've got an opinion about what the potential is for low latency for content makers and for viewers.
Yeah, so low latency for OTT, it's opening up a good number of use cases where OTT were having troubles competing with traditional TV and IPTV. We have integrated LiveFlow with Akamai CMAF. For us to be able to provide low latency, we're demonstrating here that solution at NAB with additional partners. So we're able to create, to encode a live content with a professional broadcast encoder, be able to contribute that signal into LiveFlow via SRT, and be able to have all the magic of the optimization around LiveFlow. So we're able to create the bitrate ladders, multi-codec, be able to prepare different formats for different users, and have all that content ingested into Akamai, for Akamai to be able to deliver that to a player. Now, the latency that we're having, and this is glass-to-glass latency, so from the camera to the device is less than 3 seconds, and we're showing up here at NAB. Very compelling solution, taking advantage of Akamai's competitive advantage for low latency.
What's the use case? What does this mean to an end user, to a viewer,
to a content maker? The use cases that come up are around betting and of course live sports as well. A great opportunity for sports OTTs to be able, again, to compete with IPTV. You want to hear the goal being scored on your neighbors, or maybe even reading over Twitter. You want to learn about that firsthand by enjoying the experience over the OTT.
Right, that's great. Alfonso, thank you so much for sharing what you're up to at Epic Labs. I think it's really exciting, and I'm glad that you got to share it with us.
All right,
thank you for watching Akamai TV, and we'll be back with more interviews.